Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Stephen Howson, and this is 5 things that we learned trying to stay awake watching United versus Norwich. In at number 1, honestly, can't really go anywhere else with it than this, can you? But it is Dave saves. Big saves in big moments. There was 2 when it was 1-0, where they were genuinely top draw saves. I haven't seen what the expected goals was on either of those 2 headers that they had, but let's be honest, they probably both could have gone in, and they were both excellent, fantastic saves. The only reason we kept a clean sheet was David De Gea, been one of our players of the season. I think he's had a couple of shaky moments, but I think outside of that, he's been one of the most consistent performers that we've had. Why is he always at his best when we're shit? How frustrating is that? And I know you'd be like, well, that's the only time keepers get tested, really. If you're just mint, your keeper don't. Yeah, but Chelsea have been pretty good, and Mendy's looked outrageous in the middle of that process. Either way, De Gea is on form at the moment. Number 2, Bruno disaster class. 66% possession, gave the ball away, I believe, 27 times. Now, in the past, I've said this isn't a massive issue. Your most creative players, the most creative players in the world, Kevin De Bruyne, Leo Messi, they're the people that give the ball away the most in world football. It's to be expected. The problem is, if you're not providing goals and you're not providing assists, then that breaks it down. And when you looked at this Manchester United side today, it felt like a lack of control, felt like a lack of real quality on the ball. So when you've got a player that's being dispossessed just as much as Bruno is, you've got to fix that. Maybe it's a little bit of adaptation to his new system. Maybe it's a little bit of just figuring out where everyone is. Maybe it's just a little bit of being out of form. Maybe it's a little bit of a Euros hangover. I don't know what it is, but it ain't good at the moment. He started Norwich attacks. He looked leggy. He was wasteful. He was awful. Number 3, is there a fitness issue? I would imagine United have been worked pretty hard over the last week. 2 weeks, really, if you think about it, since Rangnick has come in. Are we struggling with the tempo of what he wants us to do in training on top of whatever he's getting us to do in the game day? We look lethargic, and I don't know how much of that was down to us just looking generally lethargic and how much of that was down to us coming up against a team that was in a deep low block that had clearly zero intentions of trying to actually go and win that game, just not lose it. We didn't look like a team that was used to being able to dig in. It didn't look like we had anything extra in the tank. It looked like when we played at a high tempo, we knocked it around nice. There was some crisp midfield passing, but then when it got to the final third, it kind of all started to break down a little bit. I don't know. Is it a fitness thing? Number 4, Rashford, well out of sorts at the moment. Marcus is getting 60-70% looking like he's there. Then the final ball comes in or the final dribble comes in and it just misses. He's been consistently bad this season. And not just has he been bad in like his shots, in his crosses, in his pressing, in his passing. His decision-making looks like it's took a downward turn as well. I said earlier, I think he's going to get played through this run of form. And some people was like, why does he get played through his run of form? It's not me picking a teammate. I just said I think it's going to happen. And clearly that is currently the case, is that I think he will get played through it. When you look at the archetype of a Ralph Rangnick style player, Marcus Rashford jumps off the page at you. Now, maybe if Cavani comes back, he might go with Cavani and Ronaldo as a forward pairing, and that'll give him the opportunity to put Rashford on the bench for a little bit. But when you look at the rest of the team, there's a real lack of pace and running in behind. Marcus offers you that in buckets. So I can understand why Ralph wants to pick him, but when he is being picked, he isn't playing well. And number 5, is Ronaldo papering over the cracks? We got 2 clean sheets. Yes, we did. Against Crystal. I'm not counting the young boys game because clearly we phoned it in with that. But against Crystal Palace and against Norwich City, we've managed to keep 2 clean sheets. But in doing so, we're reliant on someone like Cristiano Ronaldo coming up with the goods at the other end. Without him, I mean, all right, he is one of the best finishers in the world. He's one of the most productive players that's ever existed in world football. You're obviously not going to build around on him long term, and you might get this season and next season out of him, and that might be that completely done. But is enough going on for him to be a passenger in games? Is it enough for just having him around for the goal threat? Is it an issue for Ralph Rangnick to figure out? Is it an issue Ralph Rangnick's going to be able and allowed to figure out? Is it even an issue at all? I'm just asking questions here. I'm not suggesting any of these are formulated ideas or anything like that. I just think it feels a little bit like we're very reliant on him but we're also not getting a performance as a team, and that might be somewhat down to having him in the team. It poses a real conundrum. And, you know, it's been said by plenty of people, including myself this year, if Ronaldo is a problem, I'm not sure I want the answer. But are we over-reliant on him? Does he paper over the cracks of poor performances? Because ultimately, performances lead to results in a good or bad way. And if the performances aren't there, sooner or later, you will end up with poor results. Right then, stay tuned and make sure to get your ass back here tomorrow. We'll be doing a preview about Brentford, which is going to be an interesting one because they do play a particularly interesting style of play. So come and check it out. I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.